Hi, and welcome to another edition of NVCA Today. I'm your host, Jack Lemley, and today I'm feeling really honored that with the two guests we have today, I'd like to welcome North Valley jazz guitarist Charlie Robinson and Toby Roye. Hi, guys.
Howdy, John.
Welcome. Glad you could be with us today.
Thanks.
They're going to play us a few tunes as the course of the program proceeds, but right now, I'd like to ask you guys, how'd you guys get started playing guitar? Charlie?
Well, let's see. I started when I was 6, Jake, so it's been a little while.
It's been a few years.
Yeah, but my brother was practicing fiddle, you know, hoedowns, practicing the shufflebowl and stuff. And he would teach me the the chord progressions to him, you know.
So you could just back them up?
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would practice on my cards, and while he practiced on his fiddles, you know. And so that's how I got started. And later he quit playing, and I got into it. And
yeah, you've come a long way.
Well, it's just years, man, and just keep doing it, you know.
Yeah. A lot of years.
Yeah, a lot of years. And then I got it where I was playing. I played my first band gig when I was 12. And that's the old standards that I'm playing now, as a matter of fact.
You learned them then, you're still doing them now?
Yeah, still doing them now. And I went from there. When I was about 15, I started playing some country. At that time, it was called Western swing. It wasn't country music, you know, like it is now, you know.
Bob Wills was
Bob
big.
Wills type. In fact, I was in a 10-piece Western swing, Bob Wills type band.
Yeah.
And I got to where I liked that. So I kept doing
a lot of jazz influence in that kind of music.
Yeah, man. Most of the Bob Wills' musicians were mostly jazz players, you know. So I grew up there, then I got turned on to Les Paul, Mary Ford, Merle Travis, Chet Atkins.
Get the thumb action working there.
Oh yeah, man, I learned how to do that after listening to Travis with those wind-up crank record players, you know, with the horns.
Oh really? You're dating yourself now.
Oh man, hey, let me tell you, man, that was hard job. I teach people how to do it now, and it's so simple, you know.
Right.
If you have a method of doing it, you know, it's so simple. But man, you're digging it off the record, you just go, I guess he's doing it this way, or I guess he's doing it.
Give us a little example of that.
See, I knew he was going with his.
What's the melody up underneath it?
I don't play much of it anymore, but
kind of hard to fathom though if somebody's not actually showing you how.
True.
Yeah.
I've learned so much out of that, man. It's been doing it for almost 30 years now.
And Toby is a former student, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, yeah, I don't like that word student.
I know you don't.
You know, I don't like that word student. We've worked together for, you know, what, 3 or 4 years, something like that.
Right.
And to me, when you're teaching, it's, you know, you're just helping somebody. It's not a student-teacher thing. You know?
You're both learning.
We both learned.
Toby, how'd you get started?
I got started playing guitar with the intention of becoming a rock and roll star first. I think Angus Young was my first rock guitar idol from AC/DC, and I idolized him for a number of years, and eventually branched into realized that there were other guitar players out there in the rock style, and so I played my share of that music, and eventually got into faster guitar playing. I got turned on by Yngwie Malmsteen in about, I think, 84, 85, and he was coming out with very fast distortion guitar and blending classical music with heavy metal. And then that turned me on in a new direction, and I realized then that I wanted to learn something about classical guitar too. So I started taking lessons, and I went down to Charlie's shop about that time. I must have been about 14 or 15. And I think I talked to you once about getting lessons, and I didn't know who to get lessons with at the time, and I ended up taking with John Whitted because he was teaching the classical at the time, and I took some lessons with John for a few months, and you know, all the while continuing playing with a pick. And I think I was leaning in that direction at the time. I wasn't really playing classical seriously, but I was learning how to read and learning slowly the notation and the finger symbols, and just kind of
Totally different ball game playing with your fingers as
Yeah.
opposed to playing with a pick. Right?
Definitely.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
I was fortunate enough when I first started taking lessons when I was about 12 that my teacher had me finger picking, you know, just basic patterns. So I started using my fingers from an early age, and I think that's helped me. That helped me get into classical with a little more
Angus
ease.
Young used his fingers too much, did he?
He was pretty much a picker. And then I had the opportunity to take music theory in high school, and that's when I realized that I wanted to know something about music. I wanted to be able to improvise and write and create my own music. And I knew that I had to learn music, so I took music theory, and I was fortunate enough to take it 3 years in a row with Leonard Duarte at Chico High School.
Right.
And so I really expanded, I think, by taking that class. Played a lot of piano throughout the, you know, each day you play a little bit of piano, which was a new experience for me. Didn't do much guitar playing there, more studying and learning about scales, the keys, and rhythms, and reading and writing.
Do you play piano?
I don't really practice, no. But
Charlie, you play another instrument besides guitar?
Oh, no, I play a little electric bass, you know,
Right.
scales theme.
Right.
Very little banjo,
Right.
you know.
We will refrain from any banjo joke at this point. So you guys both actually started in a very, what might be termed kind of a simple style, but both of you evolved into full-scale improvisational jazz. You're both kind of at the same place, kind of made your way to a jazz.
Well,
kind
if
of
you study,
dance.
Jack, you know, you grow, you know, if
Right.
you're doing any kind of studying. It's like anything else, man. You get started in it and you keep doing it and you learn more and more and more all the time.
Discover one thing and it leads you to something else.
Oh, man, in music theory, you learn one simple rule and it's just like mushrooms, you know. You just go, oh. When you first start learning about it, you kind of go, man, I got all this stuff to,
Right.
you know,
Right.
because you start realizing that, you know.
Sure.
And I find through teaching thing, it's can be very intimidating to people, you know, realizing there's it seems like so vast amount of stuff to learn, and when it really isn't, it's very simple.
I don't know. I'm still learning myself, I suppose. Well, let's get on with the tune, why don't we? First selection, Villalobos, that's the composer, correct?
Mhm.
He was
He's
a...
contemporary classical guitarist
Mhm.
who wrote a lot of real nice music for guitar,
Mhm.
and also a lot of builders, techniques builders,
Oh, really?
etudes,
Uh-huh.
and, you know.
And what is the piece you're going to do?
Well, he has a book of 12 etudes out, and I kind of got started on the first one here a few years back, and I heard somebody play, and I go, wow, that's a pretty nice thing, and got to realizing that it's a hand builder, you know.
Right. Technique
And
build.
so I try to turn everybody onto that in the teaching thing if they want to be finger pickers, you know.
Right.
And then later I got to realizing that, hey, that's a real good pick exercise too. So now we do it both ways. Toby's got his finger picking chops up.
Right.
He could play a little bit with the fingers. Yeah, see?
Right. All
And it
with-
primarily works for the right hand. It primarily works on these two fingers, which are hard to.
Right.
They're
Right
hard
there.
to
They have minds of their own.
That's right. And then
you've got
in the picking thing, man, it's for cross picking and everything, you know. It's a good little exercise for that.
Much more economical movement with the way Toby's doing it, but yet,
Well, that was built for the right hand of a
Right.
classical player, you know. It's not a pick exercise.
Right.
But
but you've turned it into a pick.
yeah, I found out that, hey, man, it works. Works good for
And so this is just, these etudes are just, they're not real compositions as such, they're just more.
Oh yeah, man. I don't know. Do you know of any classical guitar player that doesn't play Etude Number 1 from Villalobos?
Very popular showpiece.
Is it?
Very few, if any, man.
Well,
Yeah,
let's rip it.
it's like
Sure.
But we're going to do it with a pick, so
Well, just the way you want to do it's fine
Okay.
with me.
2, 3, 4.
That's just a practice exercise.
That's a practice exercise.
I thought you were crazy the first time you wanted to do that with a pick.
Yeah.
Because Charlie showed that to me. You know, we were practicing on it with fingers for a while when I was
Oh, yeah.
a few years ago. We were getting together and practicing a lot. Like about 4 days a week we were getting together and bust out the pick. Now do it with a pick. What?
You think that was difficult? Try it this way.
It's like starting all over again, almost, you know.
So the tempo on that ends up being a little bit slower for me. I know when I practice it, we can't quite get the tempo up, or I can't up to where I can with my fingers. But I think it's just a matter of practice. And
So I'm the other way.
Practice.
See.
Really? Because you're
Yeah.
going back the
'Cause
other way. Because
I play more jazz and standards and stuff, you know, which requires a pick, you know.
But you spent a lot of years just playing with your fingers rather than.
I did, because, probably about a year after I got into teaching, I really started getting pretty heavy into the classical technique, you know, and I learned a whole bunch. In fact, I did a couple of recitals, you know, type things, with where I had a program of about 18 or 19 pieces, and I played I play a little flamenco, you know. I work on that technique, and but since then I kind of got into a country band. I think you know the country band I kind of got into. Remember
yeah, I
in
think
the
so.
early '80s, man?
Yes.
That name was Stu Stewart.
Stu Stewart, I recall
right,
that
all right.
man, yes.
Anyway, you can't play, you know,
Without a pick.
you got to have a pick. So I started working really hard back on my picking thing.
Well, let's launch into another one. Tell us a little bit about this next tune you're going to play, "Flight of the Bumblebee."
Yeah, that's was written primarily for a trumpet or a violin or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trumpet players, they practice on it, but practicing on their tonguing.
For
you
some
know.
reason, I just assumed that'd be a keyboard, piano tune.
No, I think mostly
It's more of
violins and
an orchestral
trumpets.
thing.
I think probably most of the viewers will remember this back from when they were young kids. They use this a lot in background music for cartoons and
See,
stuff.
that's how I got into it. There was a guy by the name of, what was he, Frankie Carl, piano player, in the late 40s, that put out one called a Bumble Boogie.
Bumblebee Boogie or something like that?
The Bumble Boogie, you called it.
Right,
Okay,
okay.
because on the piano, see, you practice and they're really independent studies, independent coordination studies for the right and left hand on the piano. So I kind of like that, and I was working on some chromatic things, you know. Chromatic meaning all the
No spaces
It's like-
between the notes.
every note on the instrument, you know. And it's really good for your fingers and also for your picking technique, you know. So I started going, hey, why don't we do the Fly the Bumblebee thing, man? And then I dug up the music somewhere, and I started working on it a little bit. And the fingering, it's just murder, you know, when you first start, and you have to work that out. You have to play it for a while until you can come up with the right fingering where it sets on the guitar well.
Right.
Because from taking it from a piano or piano music or a trumpet music or something, it doesn't set on the guitar like it
Doesn't
does on a
transfer
trumpet
well,
or
yeah.
something. See what I mean? So you have to kind of work it out. So I started playing it, and about a year later, I come up with hey, wait a minute, there's a real good pattern here, you know, and I just kind of developed it. And then I put the boogie. I remember that boogie bass pattern that the guy on the piano used to play.
From the 40s.
And so, so I don't know, we just kind of kicked it around, and some of the people I work with, I teach them this as an exercise. And just teach them the tune, you know. And then some guys that can do it, like Toby, and I don't know, a couple more guys I can think of offhand, we do both parts, you know. And it's a real good study.
So essentially, then, what's going to happen here is one of you is just playing the left hand on
He
the
played-
keyboard part. and the
First
other-
time through, he plays the left hand, and I play the right hand.
Right.
And then the next time through, we switch it.
All right.
See?
All right.
So it comes out pretty good.
Let's hear it.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. Let's see, I blew my part already.
You just wanted to expose me.
Yeah. I go up on the beginning, and I go down on the end. But then see. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow.
A lot of movement in there, huh?
Oh, I was sitting there thinking to myself, how do you just keep that bass line going? It's just intense concentration to get your
That was a
fingers
lot
in.
of work for
Man,
me.
hey, it's a lot of work.
'Cause I spent the first, geez, been a while since you showed that to me.
Remember
and
the
I know
first time we did that pattern? We go,
Yeah.
about like that. And you just keep doing it and it gradually builds.
You
And that's
guys-
slow yet for the piece.
Yeah. It's probably
What you
about-
just did now?
That's about the name. No, see? So we don't have it. We're about halfway.
Got a ways
with
to
the
go
piece.
still. That's all right. That's all right. Are you guys recorded at all?
We haven't recorded anything together. I've recorded about 2 or 3 tapes now. They're just standards.
Right.
In fact, I have one on the market right now that we tried the blue ad. We're trying the blue ad thing with the 800 number
Oh, is that right?
call
Yeah,
thing,
sure,
you know.
sure.
And it's got a lot of a good old standard on Mac the Knife. The latest thing on it is Rock Around the Clock.
Oh, that's not too late, is it? 57, 58 maybe,
yeah.
something like
So
that?
it's from the 30s, I call it the 30s, 40s, and 50s tape, you know. But it's got a lot of good old standard on it. Let Me Call You Sweetheart, the waltz, and you know.
And people can get that?
Yeah, they can just
and I-
call in the 800 number.
Okay, and I believe we're going to put that number up on the screen, so anybody is watching today, they can get a copy of that. What are you playing otherwise besides with Toby these days?
Oh man, I play a lot, man. I play on the average of probably 5 or 6 gigs a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of,
Plus teach.
Plus teach. I get about 20 to 25 lessons a week. I kind of branched out here a couple of years ago. I started going, hey, why don't I go down and play in Sacramento a little bit? And so I get calls from
Oh,
Sacramento
do you?
and Davis
You're going down there
and
now.
Placerville, Auburn, all over the place now.
Yeah. Well,
So kind of from Reading to Sacramento.
it's hard to stay busy as a working musician
Hey,
here in Chico.
in Chico, you got to do what you got to do,
Right,
yeah.
exactly, exactly. Toby, you playing out other than with Charlie?
As much as I can. I do a lot of different styles because I'm interested in a lot of different music.
Still
you
got
know.
that Angus Young
Yeah, it comes out once in a
influence back there
while.
somewhere, huh?
You know, I've got an electric rock fusion band together. We're called Meridian. And it's all original music. It's just an outlet for us to see what we can do with a guitar, bass, and drums. And it's a chance for me to actualize some ideas. And we just mainly lay down chord grooves, but I am playing electric guitar.
Right.
And I'll put melody lines over chord grooves, and then we'll do improvised solos too, so it's a good chance to practice.
Well, speaking of improvising, I think we got time for about one more tune here, and this is an old standard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right? Autumn Leaves.
It's one that we, first of all, I use this in my teaching thing. It introduces the modes, the scales, it works with the chords and
Right,
all that
right.
stuff, you know. And then it's just a kind of we just jam to it.
Right,
Just when we want to play
okay.
something for fun, you know.
Well, I'd like to say, since we'll go out on this tune, I'd like to thank Charlie Robinson and Toby Roye for being with us here today on NVCA today. And until next time, let's get out of here with Autumn Leaves.
All right.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having
You
us.
bet.